the industry and then and know how to operate this?
Well, I guess to get into any industry, it is a bit business of relationships, but definitely more so when it comes to music. So by not cashing out artists, we're leveraging their relationships. In the case of the Rolling Stones manager and producer, his 50-year-old relationships, for deal flow and also understanding. We don't want to cash out artists for a bunch of reasons. One, reducing their income to zero, but two, we want the in-house expertise on the different catalogs that we come across.
Well, maybe I'll just make it more personal. Stepping back to 2016, 2017, I was involved with the Public Gold Royalty Company. And again, it was the same idea in the public marketplace for Canada. There's a company called Franco-Nevada that went from a $2 million valuation in the 80s to as high as 30, 40 billion. Again, not in the mining business, but collecting royalties. And so probably 60 or 70 only cash flowing royalties. So it's a remarkable valuation, 30 plus billion, run by a handful of people. So there's probably upwards of 100 public royalty companies in Canada, lots of different categories now, oil and gas. In fact, there used to be a drug royalty company that's now private, that's downtown, but renewables royalties, lithium royalties. So it's really just taking a page from the Canadian public market, where we as Canadians tell the royalty story in a way that nobody else on the planet does, right? The allocation. So when we saw in the Globe and Mail report on business, BMI pays out a record $1 billion in music royalties, that obviously diverted our attention, and we've learned everything that we've told you, and that's where we decided we wanted to be the Franco-Nevada of music royalties. A better asset class, doesn't depreciate the same way. Everybody loves it, as opposed to everybody hates mining. So it's the one thing we know and love that we never had a chance to own. So, and all those key words that are important, right? To create a product that's manufacturing a double-digit income, capital gain, non-correlated, an asset class that again, we all know these songs. It's not, the top songs, most people have heard them, know them. You can check them on, your computer or your phone pretty easily. So it's not complicated, but it's just a new topic, right? Compliments of the FANG stocks, because Amazon Music, Facebook's now paying, etc. There's obviously other ones like TikTok and Peloton playlists that have all made this, a much bigger opportunity than it was in the past.
That is great. Yeah, I have to say, like, hassle-free, uncorrelated to the market, are certainly what speaks to me. And so you do have a history of knowing the model and see how it worked, how it could have worked, and you just applied to a different asset class, which you had opportunities. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it is in the most broad sense. Think about the people that invented things in the past, even on the invention side. I've heard these amazing stories of somebody who creates, something that becomes very famous, and they become very wealthy by not doing anything other than inventing the product or the business, right? Back in terms of time. I mean, on that royalty exchange that we showed you, there's a royalty that's for the Listerine product. It's literally a Listerine bond. And so it's been paying for 140 years. It's remarkable. But of course, now there's probably 100 descendants. And if one of the descendants wants to sell. So it's looking out for these orphan long-term cash flows as a generic idea, otherwise known as royalties.
This is so interesting. I think somebody who watched this may check out the Listerine royalty as well. This is very, very interesting. It's a mouthwash, right?
No, exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, any invention that you think is cool in the past is, I don't know, there's been Post-its and Velcro, but again, the patent life of it's a product, having a diversified playlist the soundtrack of our lives, or the equivalent in terms of TV shows that are translated into every language on the planet, and movies to have a piece of James Bond, Star Wars, Friends. J.K. Rowling became a billionaire by doing the Harry Potter book. So it's infinite. It's just traditionally been 100% owned and run privately.